So I had to cut the last stream off because my camera overheated. But anyway, I'm out here doing my therapy to clean the surgical area because since the surgery, it's healing all right, but also the diseased cells, the mutated cells that are precipitating the junk are activated, and they'll be activated for 90 days unless I can push them out into my immune system and clean them up. So everything is active right now. My MCAS is active, my pseudo-gout is active, and so it feels pretty rough. I don't mind the pain. I've been through worse. I'm not really suffering because this suffering is actually healing. It's making me realize how hard I was working to fight a losing battle. In that I was keeping the front line against a disease that had already progressed around my body, and no amount of fighting it back would eventually cure me because it was coming out of a diseased hip. So that's been solved now. The source has been cut off. The hip is no longer supposedly diseased, and if there is a population of mutant cells in there, in the stem cells, for example, of the bone marrow, over time that population will diminish, because as I get less injured, I suffer less injuries, there's less demand for those stem cells to generate out of the marrow. So, and this disease I have is metastasizing out of my hip. It affects my fatty tissues and muscle, and it travels around the meridians, and it grows bone lesions, it invades joints and destroys joints, it mummifies my nerves, mummifies my organs, and so it's been a constant battle. When I first discovered what I was fighting, I peeled tumors off my muscles, off my psoas muscle, and had internal bleeding. I peeled my stomach away from my liver and gave myself a liver injury. It's very hot, and I think my camera overheated. So anyway, I had, in those 6 months, I had peeled a peeled tumor off my psoas muscle and caused some internal bleeding, and I tore away, or I peeled away my stomach from my liver and gave myself a liver injury. I peeled my spleen away from my descending colon and gave myself really bad diarrhea, and then all the debris in the body from peeling and rolfing these tumors got dumped into my system and started to precipitate out through my skin because my kidneys clogged up. So I gave myself a little kidney injury. Jesus, I did so much to fight this disease back, and eventually I got it back behind the front line. I was just kind of holding the progression. And then I had to get really strong for surgery. I had to grow more blood. So when you grow more blood, you go into a yang cycle of energizing all your cells, but unfortunately this energizes the disease. So I did yang for 4 weeks prior to surgery. Yeah, that'll do. That's better. So I did yang therapy for 4 weeks prior to my surgery, which made to grow more blood. I did yang therapy for 4 weeks before surgery to grow more blood, to make myself more resilient for the surgery. And it brought the disease back, so it was in full swing by the time I had surgery, and the surgeon couldn't help but notice it sort of stuck all over the tendon coming out of the bad hip. So unfortunately he didn't do microbiology on it, he only did pathology on it. So, and you really need to get the microbiology for cancer, you know. So anyway, it doesn't matter because I know the source of the disease is plugged in, it's sealed in, it's gone, it no longer needs to come out and attack me. But I have to work hard now for a number of years to keep my immune system never hyperactive, just sort of calm for the next few years, so that it can, in the calm, spot the bad guys, the cancer cells, and stop them coming out of the bone. Because if you're stressed in any way, your immune system can't do that. It cannot differentiate between stem cells that are real and cells that look like stem cells, because they're primitive, undifferentiated body cells. You know, different types of tissue have different cells, but when they become cancerous, they actually lose their differentiation, and in camouflage they appear to be more like a stem cell. So you really need to get microbiology on any pathology that comes out of it, and they only did cultures because they wanted to make sure it wasn't an infection. They didn't do microscopy on it, which is what's necessary for cancer. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I know what I've got to do to stop this cancer coming back. I've just got to love myself, not allow myself to take on any more stress. It's not my job. It's not my job. People coming to me with their stress, it's not my job. And I've just got to start from person now, because otherwise the cancer can just repopulate. If you get stressed, cancer can repopulate, and the goal is to get it below a 10% population rate. Anything above 10%, cancer can start to spread in the body. A critical mass of cancer cells is 20% now. But that's only when you receive the diagnosis. Until that point, they don't class it as a diagnosis, but be aware you are always full of cancer cells. Your body can just keep check of them. So I think my percentage rate is probably above 10%, because I so ill every time I'm growing new blood. You go into a state of hematopoiesis, which you can feel. If you know what that feels like, you can feel, and that's a regeneration state of the body. But obviously when you're regenerating, you're going to feel like cack, right? You're going to need to rest because your body is doing an internal marathon. I'm sorry, I just realized. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, I just realized you were probably wondering why I was crawling. I was crawling to turn on the jacuzzi timer. I can walk, but I'm very weak at the moment, and I'd rather not. I have my walker there. So I am just talking about my journey and my attitude with fighting this cancer. And I just hope that it helps someone out there to feel reassured that when they are feeling rough and they need to lie down, it's not because the disease is progressing necessarily. It means that your body's doing very hard work and needs to consume all your energy on the disease, however it's doing it, So it's gonna wipe you out. Oh God, mosquitoes. I have to run quickly. Well, I can't run, but I need to get back in the pool because I'm running away from mosquitoes. Huh. So I'm gonna pop you here. Right. This is how I treat myself when I'm feeling rough. And you want to get rid of that rough feeling. Let me reposition the camera a second. Ugh, for some reason. Okay. I'm gonna just pop you over here. Okay. So, okay. Maybe I'll point over this way. Yeah. Okay. Got my mosquito veil on. Okay, I don't know where I was. I don't know if you can hear me from there, but I'll just lift this up so I can see the camera. Yeah, what I do when I'm feeling rough, and there's different flavors of rough. So hang on, there's people on the screen. Hi Tony! Can you believe it? Tony has been a follower of mine for at least a decade, probably more like 14 years actually. And all started because over the internet, over the world, we're fans of playing in the water, just playing in the water. So whatever that does for you, a lot of my followers have come from that genre. I'm always playing, so they're living vicariously through me, a lot of these people. You know, some of them live in Britain, where I'm from, and the weather's kind of crap. And I've got the sun every day, so, you know, I get people from Sweden and, like, just cold places where, you know, this is kind of joy, isn't it? You know? Yeah, Tony says, yeah, long time. We've known each other a long time. And you know what's really cool? My healing journey has taught me to value the people that have stuck around for decades, because they have grown up too, and I had an influence on that. I had an influence on some of these people growing up too. Some of them started following me when they were crushing teenagers, right? And now they've grown up to be men defending women. And I'm proud of them. I'm really proud, because I think more of you guys need to step up and defend women. What we go through. Tony says, Britain, they have a decent summer this year for a change. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, over here we get forest fires, yeah. But in Britain, like, everyone just goes crazy when the sun's out because they don't get it enough. You know? Yeah, so